I mean, Supernatural really does best with the things that we don't see, the things that are just implied.
Like the entirety of the episode, apparently.
Like all of season 1.
My name is KJ, and you're listening to the Supernatural Opinions podcast, where some things in this world are supernatural. My pronouns are she, they, and this is the podcast where I talk to my fellow Supernatural fans about Supernatural, and we share our Supernatural opinions.
Today we're recapping Season 2, Episode 18, Hollywood Babylon, which originally aired on April 19th, 2007. And here to help me do that, my guests are Meredith, Jenn, and Moira. Meredith, remind everyone who you are.
I'm Meredith. My pronouns are she and her, and my power is back on.
We had a massive storm like a week ago, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, right? And it was pretty bad.
Not saying I live there, though.
I was supposed to be there. I was going there the next day, and I just ended up not going there for the whole week because the whole city was like devastated.
Yeah.
Lots of downed trees.
Yeah. And Moira, remind everyone who you are.
I'm her.
And Jenn, remind everyone who you are.
I'm Jenn, and pronouns are she and her.
This week's episode will contain spoilers for this episode. It may reference previous episodes, but will not contain spoilers for later episodes of Supernatural, except for one tiny little detail right at the end. It's not really a spoiler. I'm just warning you. I'm going to talk about one random season 14 thing, and that's it. This week's episode is titled Hollywood Babylon, and that's a reference to the book by Kenneth Anger about the Hollywood scandals and in the first half of the 20th century, and it was banned for like 10 years after it came out. It was like a book about scandals.
Scandalous.
Yeah, definitely. This week's episode was written by Ben Edlund and directed by Phil Sgriccia. Ben Edlund's last episode writing was Night Shifter, and Phil Sgriccia was also last year for Night Shifter. Just like last week, pairs at work, and this show just keeps them all together. But let's get into the recap, I think, unless anyone has any comments on anything that I just said. Okay, so this episode has no previously on. We just hit the ground running with the opening scene, which is exactly like every opening scene of Supernatural. Sorry, I wrote every opening science in my notes. Every opening scene of Supernatural until it's revealed that we're actually filming a horror movie.
Yes, exactly. Supernatural is known for opening in science.
We have an actress, Tara. She is not a scream queen, even though she apparently like only does horror movies. She's just not got the scream down at all. I think she might be in the wrong acting market.
She's doing her best.
She really is.
I think part of it is that she has like a really like naturally deep voice.
Yeah. She doesn't get that high scream that we're used to hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. They want like the Bride of Frankenstein shrieking.
Two of the crew guys are talking, and Frankie thinks that the movie is haunted, and Tara and the other dude are like not convinced. Tara's then like off practicing her lines by herself, and she's like practicing her screams when she like hears something. And just like in every horror movie she's ever been in, she follows it and sees a ghost and the dead body of Frankie, and she screams for real, which delights our director, whose name I believe is McG. That's what everybody calls him. I'd like to know what McG is short for. But then Sam and Dean are on a tour of a studio lot, and as they approach the Stars Hollow set for the show Gilmore Girls, Sam just bails, which is an amazing reference to Jared's work on Gilmore Girls.
If they stuck around long enough, they would see like another version of Jared Padalecki.
That would be great, honestly.
Wow, it's like looking in a mirror.
I think it would be funny if like Sam had been on the show under another name, and he was like, "No, I know these people. Get to go.
Well, that's cool.
I needed the money, okay?"
I think it's better because Jared's character on Gilmore Girls is named Dean, which I think really just makes it better. From a Supernatural standpoint.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But they're on their way to check out Stage 9, and Dean makes a Beverly Hillbillies reference to swimming pools and movie stars, which I appreciated. I loved the Beverly Hillbillies when I was a kid. We got this channel that had only like super retro TV. We got Beverly Hillbillies and Gilligan's Island and stuff that like hadn't been on for like many, many years.
Stuff like Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah, definitely like old stuff. And I just really enjoy the Beverly Hillbillies. I think it's funny. Sam says the weather is practically Canadian because this is absolutely a lot in Vancouver and not in LA.
Yeah.
And it's cold.
Apparently this is the episode for meta references.
Yeah, it really is the start of like the really meta episode, like references, and I love that. Dean is excited to talk about the set of Poltergeist being haunted, and he views monster/horror movies as their cultural heritage. And I think it's really nice that Dean has invented himself a cultural heritage because he has no home, no family, no roots. And what roots they do manage to find over the course of the show shows they're like third or fourth generation, like white Midwestern American.
There, you made it sad.
Thanks, KJ. Thanks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, Dean just like invented a heritage for hunters because no hunters have them, and like Sam and Dean especially don't because they're just like white Americans.
Oh gosh. I mean, yeah, if you're a white American, you can say that horror movies are your heritage. Whatever works.
The Campbells are like possibly Jewish, which we'll get into eventually. But like John was born in Illinois. Like,
Even Chicago. Illinois.
yeah, it's not even Chicago. He's born in Normal, Illinois, which is, I mean, amazing choice.
I love that they named a town Normal. It's so
Yeah.
fun.
And John Winchester lived there of all people.
I'm just an average guy.
He's normal, well-adjusted, you know.
We didn't say he was well adjusted.
Dean is absolutely starstruck that the main witness that they're going to talk to is Tara Eventually. He is a big fan. I forgot to write down the name of the actress who plays Tara Eventually, but she's a Canadian actress and she's in like The Handmaid's Tale and she's great.
She's in an episode of Murdoch Mysteries too. It was pretty cool.
I love Murdoch Mysteries.
Ooh.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is that there's a network guy character. His name's Brad, and every request and criticism from the two network characters, Brad and Jay, are real like requests and criticisms that the WB/the CW asked of Supernatural. And the very first one, though, is amazing because it used to sound absolutely ridiculous to me. It's like, I know it's horror, but can we make it brighter? And no, that is valid. Eric Kripke, Robert Singer, you don't get to be salty about this. They're correct. Your first two seasons of Supernatural are so dark.
It's
you
true.
can't see what's happening. Like, it's not so much like the
They were my favorite, KJ. As soon as I could actually see what was happening, they ruined it.
I mean, Supernatural really does best with the things that we don't see, the things that are just implied.
Like the entirety of the episode, apparently.
Like all of season 1. Dean is mistaken for a PA, and Brad asks for a smoothie, and Dean just kind of ends up rolling with it for the rest of the episode. He just really just like, okay, I guess I'm a PA now.
Oh, I should say that Brad is played by Gary Cole, who has been in tons of things. He was in an episode of Psych, probably other things, but most notably, he was the voice of Kim Possible's father.
Oh, fun.
Oh.
I love that.
That's
Has a
amazing.
dad voice. He really has a dad voice.
Dean is immediately not great at being a PA. He leaves a tray of smoothies on a random piece of scaffolding, and I just know that those smoothies were never found. They went bad there, and they went to waste, and they were just forever forgotten.
I think the ghost of the studio ate them.
I hope so. I hope those poor ghosts really did deserve it. Someone should have brought them snacks. Dean's EMF meter gives absolutely nothing. And then I had a fangirl moment as I noticed that Torrance Coombs was in the background. He's one of the actors in the horror movie. Torrance Coombs is a Canadian actor. He's been in a bunch of stuff, including 10 episodes of Heartland as the We Love to Hate Him, Chase Powers, 62 episodes of Sebastian in Rain, which is another show that I love. He was also Count Paris in Still Starcross, the 7-episode Romeo and Juliet sequel that I think should have gotten a better shake. And also 6 episodes of the originals as Declan, plus some other stuff. But those were the things that I really recognize. Dean is not loving being a PA, but there is great food on set. And Adam Rose, who was on season 8 of Supernatural, made a video, it'll be a few months ago by the time this episode comes out, about how the food on the set of Supernatural was absolutely insane. Like, as you're leaving, they were just like handing you food. And that made me so happy for everybody involved.
Yeah.
So that's a real reflection of life on the Supernatural set, is the amount of food. I'm glad they're not spending money on anything except for food. But also, like, I kind of get it. Like, look at Jared and Jensen. Like, you can't tell me that those two dudes don't eat, like, a lot.
True.
So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, and plus, like, everybody, it's not even just the two of them. Like, everybody on Supernatural is super tall and probably burns like a zillion calories a day.
Which is crazy because I feel like I remember hearing that sometimes celebrities end up being kind of short, like Robert Downey Jr. is like a shorter guy. It seems like on average, right, famous men tend to be shorter, except for Supernatural. They're all just giants.
So tall.
Yeah.
Anyway, food, amazing, happy, love it. Sam does not feel like eating in this episode, which is, I'm a little bit concerned about him, to be honest, but he's just not into the mini Philly cheesesteaks.
The previous episode. To be fair.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sam says no one has any information about Frank the dead guy, but 4 people have previously died in stage 9, 2 by suicide and 2 from fatal accidents. Dean seems to abandon the hunt for a second to enjoy his life, and he approaches Tara eventually, but then he immediately gets back to the hunting, and I'm so proud of him. And he also shows Tara a lot of kindness and compassion that doesn't feel like he's just flirting with her. It felt genuine.
Mhm.
And I was very happy to see that, because she did see something that she thought was horrible. We're going to find out she didn't see what she thought she saw, but she thought she did, and that's what matters psychologically.
Yeah,
Exactly.
The trauma
It's
is
horrible when you think about it.
Yeah.
exactly. Oh my gosh.
And Tara ends up being really helpful. She has a Polaroid camera that she brings on set, and she takes pictures with all of the crew. And it turns out that Frank Jaffe is Gerard St. James, and Dean recognized his face from some movies that he's seen, and they track him down. And it turns out he was paid by the producers to start rumors of a haunted set for a horror movie. It's part of the new marketing strategy of internet buzz, which is so very 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
How do we use this new internet?
Like you said,
Tara and Mitch are trying to film, but there's a sound issue, and Brad, the producer, is also having an issue with the scene. He and the director, McGee, are debating how ghosts can hear chanting, and so the writer Marty's like, I will throw in an explainer, and I'm like, I know that's gotta be they just throw in an explainer, but Supernatural, they never threw in the explainer. How do the ghosts hear the chanting?
Very true.
KJ. It's a spell. They don't have to hear it. They're just summoned by its power.
Brad sees a black and white ghost and assumes that she's makeup, even though I have no idea how this ghost makeup was supposed to fit into this horror movie. I don't know how he was immediately this makes sense to be here.
Probably because he just doesn't understand the movie.
She also disrobes as part of her whole thing, and I'm like, was that necessary, Supernatural? It also felt inconvenient. They had to body paint so much more of her because of that one, even though we don't see anything. I'm just so much more of her shoulders. I'm like, I bet you everyone complained about that. But he then follows her up to the rafters, and then he falls into the set where Mitch and I think the other actress is Wendy, maybe, or Ashley or something. They're doing the scene again with the explainer.
Mhm.
But Brad is super dead. Filming continues despite the death.
That is a very Hollywood thing to do, honestly.
This episode did not frame Hollywood in a great light.
It really
they really,
didn't.
I don't know, maybe they were salty that they got booted up to Canada, but they were mad.
The show must go on.
Dean has gotten really into the whole PA gig. He's really into it.
is the movie more true?
Tara is I'm sorry, salt seems a little bit silly. Why are ghosts afraid of salt? And Marty is really happy to make it not salt. He's like, do you want to stick with condiments or something else? Which is amazing. I would like to have another condiment, although I'm not sure I would count salt as a condiment so much as a spice. Ketchup as a condiment, mayo as a condiment, salt and pepper are spices.
Actually, if I was a ghost and you squirted ketchup at me, that would definitely work on me better than salt, because ketchup is gross.
Sure.
Squeezy bottle of mayo that they have. Probably for me.
One guy suggests shotguns, but that makes even less sense than salt, which pisses Walter off, and he storms off. Sam's not interested in taquito either. He's no cheese, mini Philly cheesesteak, no taquito, but he does confirm that Brad's death was real. That guy is actually dead. And Dean then takes Sam to Dave the sound guy and plays him the messed up audio. It has EVP on it, and now the EMF meter is going off. It wasn't before, but now it is. And Dean's I don't know how this thing got from fake haunting to real haunting, but it seems real. And they go into one of the trailers. It's unexplained who this trailer belongs to and why no one else is annoyed that they're in it, but They're in there and they are watching the dailies from Brad's death, and Sam sees like a ghost chilling in the background, and Dean's like, it's like 3 men and a baby all over again. And thank God that he explains this reference because I didn't get it. But there was a boy in the background of one of the scenes that no one remembered being there. It was just like a little like ghost child.
We're seeing that photo. It was interesting.
It's then Sam's turn to recognize an actor on site from a photo because he recognizes this ghost. She is Elise Drummond, and Sam and Dean are like looking up like a newspaper article on her, and Dean's PA name is Ozzy, which is a great little like reference. I feel like there is not enough Ozzy Osbourne in Supernatural like at all. Sure. But Elise Drummond is one of the 4 deaths that happened on stage 9. She died in the 1930s after